A 13th century book, hailed as the largest medieval manuscript in the world, is said to have been penned by Satan himself, not as a compilation of all human knowledge, but as a work of sinister origin. Codex Gigas is also known as the Devil's Bible. This is perhaps the book containing the most bizarre and grotesque demonic illustrations humanity has ever witnessed. The book is currently preserved at the Royal Library of Sweden. Every day, it attracts large crowds of visitors who come to admire it, leaving people wondering about its extraordinary value. How could anyone complete such a massive book in just one night? Could Satan have had a hand in its creation? It is also rumored that the book Codex Gigas is cursed, as anyone who possesses it meets with misfortune. Come now to Vu Trung Nguyen Thuy for the final installment of the Ancient Code series and uncover the last remaining mysteries. Welcome to Episode 3, The Book Cursed by the Devil. The book is cursed by a demon. Codex Gigas. This book consists of 310 sheets made from the hides of 160 donkeys. Some other sources suggest the book actually has 620 leaves, equivalent to 310 skins or 310 parchment sheets. Actually, it was initially believed to have 320 pages, but the last 10 pages were lost. To this day, researchers still cannot determine how this book was created or the identity of the person who wrote such a work falsely attributed to Satan. However, thanks to a note on the first page, we know that the Postlize monastery in the Czech Republic was its first recorded headquarters. However, those points alone are not sufficient grounds to confirm that the manuscript was produced there. On the other hand, the small monastery has limited financial and material resources, making it incapable of producing a book of such scale. However, the colossal size of the Codex Gigas is not the only thing that has left scholars in awe. Inside the book are full-page color images depicting a demon with a menacing appearance, leading many to believe that the pages themselves are cursed. According to reliable sources, the Codex Gigas was determined to be a manuscript created in the early 13th century, originating from Bohemia, a historical region in what is now the Czech Republic. Around the year 1229, the Bohemian monastery was completely burned down, so the artifacts were moved and temporarily stored at the Cistercian monastery in Sittlik. Later, the Benedictine monastery in Brevnov purchased the entire collection of these antiquities. Once again, the Codex Gigas manuscript changed hands as the Benedictine monastery fell into financial ruin. To raise money for their needs, the monks sold this manuscript to a nearby monastery. However, not long after it came into new hands, that monastery also fell into financial ruin. In 1594, the Codex Gigas manuscript belonged to the Benedictine monks. These days were no different from any others. They still struggled with financial hardship and were forced to sell the Codex Gigas to the white monks. In reality, during a war in the reign of Emperor Rudolf II of the Habsburg dynasty, he ordered the painting to be stolen and brought to his palace. The Codex Gigas collection in the treasure collection of Habsburg Emperor Rudolf II. It is said that since 1564, the emperor became obsessed with the occult after hearing the prophecy of the seer Nostradamus. That person had foretold the death of Rudolf's father and his succession to the throne. Upon hearing that news, the obsession in Rudolf's heart grew ever stronger, gradually turning into madness. Of course, the appearance of the Codex Gigas only fueled his delusions further. A few years later, Emperor Rudolf of the Habsburg dynasty was deemed insane and forced to abdicate. During the Swedish siege of Prague in 1648, the final phase of the 30 Years' War, the entire treasure of Emperor Rudolf II, including the Codex Gigas manuscript, was seized by the Swedish army as spoils of war and taken to Stockholm. From 1649 to the present, this manuscript has been preserved in the Royal Library of Sweden. But on May 7, 1697, a devastating fire broke out in the Royal Palace of Stockholm, causing severe damage to the Royal Library. To save the Codex Gigas from the raging fire in time, they had no choice but to throw it out of the library window. The result was that some outsiders were injured, while the book itself was torn and several manuscript pages were damaged. Nevertheless, the Codex Gigas remained undisturbed at the National Library of Sweden until September 2007. After 359 years of wandering, the Codex Gigas returned to its homeland, the Czech Republic, in January 2008 and was displayed at the Czech National Library. In 2009, the Codex Gigas was returned to the National Library of Sweden and has been preserved there intact to this day. The Codex Gigas is hailed as the eighth wonder of the world for many extraordinary reasons, not only due to its colossal size but also because of its unique contents. But also because of its external beauty, with incredibly intricate and eye-catching decorative lines and patterns. Additionally, the Codex Gigas is shrouded in many mysteries, including its contents and the illustrations within the book. Many pages of text are adorned with delicate borders, artistic fonts, and intricate illustrations. In many illustrations, the most prominent is the painting on page 290, a portrait of Satan kneeling in a half-human, half-beast form, with sharp claws and a long, protruding tongue. In ancient texts that have been preserved, depictions of demons and ghosts are actually not uncommon. But choosing a large sheet of paper to print the portrait of the Lord of Western Darkness was quite unusual. What makes this portrait stand so firmly and enduringly? A medieval legend tells of a 13th century monk named Hermann Zerekalis who was imprisoned within 4 walls for committing a grave sin. In a desperate attempt to escape the harsh punishment awaiting him, Hermann proposed writing a book compiling all of humanity's knowledge in just one night, on the condition of being granted leniency. Hermann attempted to carry out that impossible task, but as time was running out, he pleaded with the fallen angel Satan to help him complete the book before dawn. Of course, Hermann had to trade his soul to the devil, while etching the image of Lord Th into the book as a token of gratitude. The painting depicts a fierce demon standing between 2 towering spires. This is also why Codex Gigas * has been considered a peculiar work for centuries. Many believe this book brings no good to its owner, only misfortune, sickness, and tragedy. He begged for blessings from the sacred gods, but merely to save his own life, he prayed to the witch devil, the force that always tempts men to trample upon God. But that's just speculation, as many mysteries still surround this ancient book. To be honest, this is just an unconvincing myth, because I'm pretty sure no one actually signed a legal pact with the devil to create this thing. Hermann the Recluse. Inclusus. Hermann wrote this book for honor, perhaps in pursuit of knowledge rather than driven by fear. According to an article published in National Geographic magazine a few years ago, the handwriting analysis results of ancient script researcher Mike revealed. Cronkite announced the results for you all, and you can read his article. Here are the natural English translations for your Vietnamese phrases. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for being with me. Anna Guladarski, a librarian at the National Library of Sweden, asserts that she is captivated by the manuscript's arrangement, its text, decorative motifs, portraits, and overall structure. To her, everything holds countless secrets and profound meanings. Michael and Anna try to uncover the hidden mysteries within this book. First, monitor the ink level to check whether the pigments and chemical components in the writing can reveal any information. If Codex Gigas were the work of a scribe, it would be written in only one kind of ink, perhaps metal ink, or ink made from crushed insects. The ultraviolet test results revealed that Codex Gigas used ink made from insects. Therefore, if this was truly the work of a chronicler, it is highly unlikely they would suddenly switch to a different type of ink. Of course, this doesn't mean no other scribe will come along and use that very same insect-based ink. Anna and Michael continued examining the Devil's Bible once more using graphic and handwriting analysis methods. They meticulously compared every minor detail, such as stroke patterns, slant, angles, pen pressure, to identify discrepancies, drawing specific conclusions from their findings. Theories about Codex Gigas continue to emerge as this work increasingly solidifies its status as the most mysterious book of all time. Not only that, many contents in the book Codex Gigas do not appear in any other ancient texts. Approximately half of the books are Bibles translated into foreign languages, including the Old Testament and the New Testament. The following pages contain concise encyclopedic entries, such as history of medicine, herbal remedies, treatments for serious illnesses, methods of detoxification, and notes on magic. In my opinion, it seems that Hermann or whoever wrote this book was merely trying to distill from the era's significant, well-researched, and celebrated works to create Codex Gigas *. Another non-biblical work included in the book is the Bohemian Chronicle of the Cosmos from Prague, written around the year 1100. This is the first chronicle to record the history of Bohemia, serving as a crucial source for studying the region's past. It's no surprise that over 200 pages of the chronicle amount to just 11 sheets in the mysterious Codex Gigas. Another piece of evidence confirming the massive size of this book. Aside from historical and religious texts, the remainder of the book consists of brief notes, including confessions, spells, a calendar table, and a hastily scribbled general-purpose entry. The confession ending with a plea for repentance is perhaps one of the most profound passages in the Devil's Bible. For it may be the confession and endless torment of the old monk, the first to capture it. Beyond understanding the related stories, the way the book is constructed suggests that it may be the recollection of a certain religious devotee, who poured their heart into writing Codex Gigas as an act of penance. This passage is even said to contain components that help prevent epilepsy, or even address more specific issues such as locating a place. Some suggest that healing magic or exorcism spells may stem from the idea that the scribe wrote these incantations to save their own soul. The book also clearly records 2 spells, one to identify and capture thieves, and another to ward off evil spirits or haunting ghosts. During the Middle Ages, many diseases were believed to be caused by demons possessing the body, and the church often performed special exorcism rituals to drive out evil spirits from the sick. However, as mentioned earlier, it is the illustration on page 290 that truly makes this book exceptionally famous. Because it tran dung, like a warning against sin, their positions were also arranged to instill fear and deter temptation in the hearts of the people by exposing their sharp claws and terrifying, gaping mouths. The National Library of Sweden has adopted a completely different approach to this issue and provided the following detailed explanation. The depiction of demons is not uncommon in medieval art, one might even say it is remarkably diverse. In reality, Satan can manifest at any time in the form of animals or creatures that exist only in the imagination. Sometimes he appeared in human form, other times he transformed into a monster. If you look up descriptions of Satan during this period and throughout the following century, you will often encounter images of the devil interacting with humans in various forms. Inferno. Jesus appeared in a majestic image as he shattered the gates of hell, trampled a hideous demon, and welcomed the prophets and patriarchs of the Old Testament. Perhaps as early as the 10th century, the idea of selling one's soul appeared in the tale of a prince making a pact with the devil, yet even the demon in the story did not act alone. I believe that in other literary and artistic works, the devil often only appears alongside other characters to reveal his wicked nature. Whether he is negotiating or being overwhelmed, those works still tell a story. Lesser demons rarely appear alone and take up an entire page as in Gigas's illustration. Typically, they are depicted by themselves within an empty frame. He curled up, his arms raised high. Only 4 fingers remained on each hand, and the same for his feet, his body wrapped in nothing but a thin, coarse piece of cloth. Hermit. Some believe these missing artifacts once contained an apocalyptic passage, known as the Devil's Curse. That text was deliberately erased to prevent a world-ending catastrophe. However, this might just be an unverified myth that no one has ever confirmed. The library's website states that this portrait aims to remind viewers of sin and hidden truths. It is placed opposite a painting depicting the daily life of the heavenly virtue city. These 2 pages are meticulously designed to highlight the benefits of a healthy lifestyle and the drawbacks of an unhealthy one. This is also the only set of paintings that occupies an entire single page in the entire Codex Gigas. That's just my personal opinion, but I believe in other literary and artistic works, Aki appears alongside other characters simply to portray him as a cunning and scheming individual. Whether he's freely creating or under heavy pressure, those works still tell a story. This is the city of heaven, and this is the devil, the prince of darkness. When depicting the image of such a giant demon, they wanted to convey the immense influence of evil spirits in human life. Though the Devil's Bible is most famous for its demonic associations, within its pages still lie countless others filled with a fascinating history. Scholar Christopher de Hamo at Cambridge remarked that this military strategy is the most peculiar, so bizarre as to be incomprehensible and exudes an inexplicable strangeness. It is said to possess an almost supernatural allure, capable of inspiring fear while planting an intense obsession in the hearts of those who own it. Biographer Michael Gulick, who participated in interviews for the documentary, shared that, "Without a doubt, anyone who glimpses this book for even a moment must admit it radiates a peculiar power." It can be said that the Codex Gigas is a truly unique book, placing the Bible alongside secular incantations like exorcism spells. Not only the spells or historical writings make it extraordinary, but this unique combination itself has never appeared before. How fascinating it is that this book, written by an amateur, is so cherished and sought after. This is a passion-driven project, dedicated to preserving all of humanity's knowledge to honor the enduring legacy of our monastery through the ages. Even so, perhaps we will never know for sure. Many military mysteries around the world remain unsolved despite humanity's efforts to uncover them. To this day, the massive Codex Gigas remains one of the unsolved mysteries. The greatest handwritten work in the world has now concluded the ancient code series here. I hope this mysterious book in Volume 3 will spark your curiosity to explore hidden wonders. Now, it's time to say goodbye, and see you all next time.